What is going on, you guys? My name is Josh. I go by Hairytornado here on YouTube and over on Instagram. And today I'm going to be talking about how much money I spend in a month as a full-time YouTuber and reseller living in South Carolina. So just in case you're new to my channel, this is maybe the first video of mine that you're watching. My full-time job is selling things on eBay and making YouTube videos about the process. So I will go to thrift stores, yard sales, estate sales, things like that, buy stuff for super cheap and then flip it on eBay for a profit. And pretty much all of my videos are centered around that model of business. I do make more money on YouTube than I do from selling items, but that's because I put a lot of work and time into my YouTube channel over the last couple years. We should be getting really close to hitting 100,000 subscribers pretty soon. So over the last 6 to 8 months, YouTube has really taken over as my primary income source, but I still make enough money with reselling to afford my cost of living here in South Carolina, and that's what I want to talk about here today. So first, let's talk about South Carolina a little bit and how much it costs to live here. South Carolina is a beautiful state stretching from the beaches on the East Coast to the Smoky Mountains in the northwestern part of the state. But one of my personal favorite things about South Carolina is that it is incredibly affordable to live here. South Carolina actually ranks lower than the national average cost of living in every single category except health insurance and utilities. The average cost of a house in South Carolina is about $170,000, and the average cost of a 3-bedroom house for rent is about $1,000 per month. Now, South Carolina, like pretty much any other state, has a long list of pros and cons, but for me personally, I do feel like it has a really good mixture of cost of living and quality of life. Now, I live in Lexington, South Carolina, which is right in the middle of the state, right next to the state capital of Columbia, and I love it here. It's a very low cost of living relatively with still a pretty high quality of life. If you wanted something a little nicer, you could obviously move out to Charleston or Hilton Head or even Greenville. You're going to pay a little bit more to live in those areas, but you also get slightly higher quality of life. It's really up to you. Whatever you think a high quality of life is and an affordable cost of living, that's how you find where you're supposed to live, you know? So for me personally, I don't see us leaving the Lexington, South Carolina area anytime soon. I'm sure that there's some people that clicked on this video today in hopes that I would talk about my total income as a full-time YouTuber and reseller. And I used to share this information publicly. I made a video back in September of 2020 talking about my income for that month. And I mean, you can go back and watch that video. It's still public. I made about $11,000 that month from the YouTube and reselling business after fees, expenses, taxes, everything. That was my actual take-home pay. And when I made that video and it went public, I don't know, it was just weird because friends and family were watching it, and we didn't want to make any like weird social situations or ever come off as being like braggy or boastful. So my wife and I just decided to no longer share our total income, you know, in depth on YouTube anymore. I will say that since that video, YouTube has taken off even more. Just this year in 2021, YouTube AdSense alone should be around 6 figures, somewhere close to 6 figures, like take-home taxable income on that. And that doesn't include any money I make on eBay or sponsorships or Amazon affiliates or my wife's income. So being that the average household income in South Carolina is about $57,000 per year, I definitely think that would put us in the upper middle class, maybe not even middle class, maybe just upper class of living in South Carolina. Of course, if we were living in Los Angeles or New York City, this would put us in like very average, probably like lower middle class income. So I think the biggest benefit that we have in our business is the fact that we live in a place like this where we can, you know, take this great income we've been super blessed and lucky to have and not really have to spend a lot of it on our life. We save so much of our income because our cost of living here is just so incredibly low. So now let's go ahead and jump into how much of my income I actually spend each month living in South Carolina. I'm gonna go ahead and scooch over so I can put some graphics on the screen. Forgive me, I'm gonna be reading my spreadsheet down here, so my eyes will be, you know, down here. But our first cost of the month is definitely gonna be our mortgage payment. Our house is, it's a pretty normal suburban house. You know, it's like 1,300 square feet, 3 beds, 2 baths, nothing fancy. We got a nice garage, a shed in the backyard. We bought the house for like $128,000 back in 2017, and now it's probably worth like $165 or so. Real estate prices in South Carolina and pretty much everywhere in the United States are crazy right now. But our mortgage payment with taxes, insurance, and all that stuff included is about $800 per month. Next up, we have the utilities. Our electricity bill on average is about $100 a month. It can go as low as like 60 to 70 in like the spring and fall, and as high as like 150 in the summer if we're cranking out the AC. So on average, about $100 a month for that. Our water bill and sewer bill are actually really high. Water and sewer are billed separately here. So we pay like $60 a month for water and $70 a month for sewer. I don't know why. I don't understand it. It sucks, but that's what we pay. We also have to pay for our garbage pickup. It's not included in our county. So we pay, it's like $55 every 3 months. So I think that's like 18 bucks a month or whatever it is. Like I think 18 bucks a month. And then internet, I do pay for super fast internet, and that's $75 per month. We don't have a house phone because we don't like wasting money on things that aren't important, and that's pretty much all of the like utilities. Like the taxes and insurance are included in our mortgage payment, and that covers electricity, water, sewer, and garbage and internet. So that's everything associated with the house right there. Next up, we have insurance. We have our car insurance, health insurance, and life insurance. Car insurance is about 150 bucks a month for both of our cars, full coverage. Life insurance is about $37 per month for both Haley and I. We both have a 30-year term life insurance policies. We pay about $37 a month for both of our policies combined. And then health insurance, just for me, like I said, Haley has coverage through her work for free. Just for me is $320 a month, which is really high considering it's got like an $8,000 deductible. But I just haven't, I really need to sit down with like a health insurance broker or whatever and see if I can find a cheaper plan, because I'm young, relatively healthy, no history of any issues or anything like that. So I feel like it should be pretty easy to get that cost down. But I know when you bring in kids and a spouse and all that stuff into it, health insurance premiums can go sky high. So definitely, if you're thinking about getting into trying to resell or YouTube full time and you have to end up paying full price for your health insurance, that's definitely something you need to factor in, because if you've got a job with an employer that's helping defer some of those costs, you could be paying $200 a month for health insurance for your family. But if you had to pay for that same policy out of pocket, you could easily be paying $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 per month for health insurance. Don't even get me started on how broken the health insurance and healthcare system is in the United States. Let's not even go there. Next up is our cell phone bill for 2 lines with Verizon. My wife's phone is paid off, and my phone is, I just got it like 3 or 4 months ago, so I'm still making the payments on that. Interest-free, baby. So we pay about 150 bucks a month for the 2 phones, 2 lines, and the payment on my phone together. Next up are subscriptions. These are like Netflix, Sling TV, things like that, and we pay $45 a month for those. Next up would be groceries, and we usually go to the grocery store about once per week and usually spend 80 to 120 bucks depending on what meals we have planned for that week. So I'm averaging that out to be about $100 per week on groceries. The last fixed cost for the month is going to be gas for our cars. Even though gas has gone up in price over the last couple months, it's still pretty cheap here. The last time I filled up was like $2.55 per gallon or so. My wife has a smaller SUV, I have a larger SUV, so we pay about $120 per month in gas for her to go back and forth to work and for me to do my job. And even though that's coming out of our budget, most of my miles are written off for business purposes anyway, so it's actually probably less than that, but let's just call it 120 bucks a month just for giggles. So the total monthly fixed cost for our household is about $2,340. That's everything I just went over in the line item budget list there. I do have 4 other items that I put in the variable cost for my spreadsheet because they sometimes change, but usually they don't. They could probably be fixed cost as well. The first variable cost that I put down is eating out. We usually eat out every Friday night, every Sunday for lunch, and usually get like Chick-fil-A or something on like one weeknight. So that means we usually spend about $300 per month eating out at all of those places. We do go to different places every once in a while, but generally we spend about the same amount of money. So it's about $300 a month eating out. On clothing, I just say we spend $50 a month because we might go to TJ Maxx like one weekend and my wife might get a dress and I might get a t-shirt. Most of our clothes pretty much come from Goodwill usually. So about $50 a month on clothing seems pretty accurate. Entertainment is like, I don't know, we went to go play putt-putt the other day and that was like 20 bucks. So I'm just going to say we spend about $50 a month on entertainment. And then the last variable cost is going to be other, which is like if we buy something on Amazon that we want. I'm going to say we spend about $75 per month on the other category as well. So that means our total variable expenses is going to be about $475 per month. So that means our total monthly expenses, everything that we have to pay to keep our heads afloat and live a fairly comfortable life, is going to be $2,815. which means we need about $649.62 per week in income to cover all of these expenses. I want to jump in here real fast and let you guys know that there are two huge aspects to my budget that I left out of this budget breakdown, and that's giving and saving. And I left them out because really it's kind of optional. Like, you don't have to save money to live your life. It's a very good idea to save some money. It's good financial behavior, but you don't have to do that. This was just a breakdown of like the bare minimum we would need to make to maintain our current lifestyle level. So I just left out saving and giving. I do both of those. I think it's really important, but for the purposes of this video, I just left those out. Just wanted to clarify that with you guys. Now, of course, this is just our personal stuff. If I have stuff for my business I want to buy, like a new camera lens or a new light or something, I'll just buy that, and that'll be kept separate from this in my business checking account. This is just our personal life, you know, the stuff that everybody has, not just YouTubers and resellers. One of the most common questions I get asked is if I took YouTube completely out of the equation and I didn't make AdSense money, I didn't make viewer sales, I didn't make anything with sponsorships or affiliate links, I only had eBay reselling income to rely on, would I still be able to make enough money for it to be considered a full-time income? And the answer is yes. Not because I'm some world-class eBay seller, it's because my personal overhead is so incredibly low. It's not hard to make $650 a week on eBay living where I do. That's about $1,400 in gross sales. I operate about a 55% profit margin. So $1,400 in sales, take out cost of goods, fees, expenses, shipping costs, and income taxes, and that'll leave me with about $650 a week. And that's like just over $6,000 in gross sales per month, which is not hard. If you're working 40, 50 hours a week on an eBay business, thrift stores, yard sales in South Carolina where I am, and you can't make $6,000 a month, something's wrong. It's not that hard if you're willing to put in the work. So yes, if I took YouTube out of it, I could make a full-time income. And that doesn't even include my wife. My wife makes enough to live off, for us to live off of, more than that. So I could lose all my YouTube income and lose my wife's income and just focus 40 hours a week on eBay and easily pay for, you know, our lifestyle, be a full-time single income household easily. Not because, again, I'm not some great seller, it's just because it's so cheap. It's cheap to live here, and we're pretty frugal as well. And I think if you want to become a full-time reseller, there are a lot of things to consider, but your personal overhead is probably the most important, because if you've got 2 truck payments and an SUV payment and kids in private school and, you know, a bunch of credit cards and a bunch of debt and just a bunch of monthly overhead, if you need, you know, $10,000, $15,000 a month just to keep your head above water, and you want to quit your job to become a full-time reseller, thrift stores and yard sales, that's gonna be pretty difficult. You know, maybe you should try something else. But, you know, if you live in an area with low cost of living, no kids, no health problems, no credit card debt, no car payments, and you only need $650 a week to live your current lifestyle, full-time reselling is looking like a pretty good option. So I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed this deep dive into my personal finances, let me know by hitting the like button on this video. And if you guys want me to do a video similar to this in the future where I deep dive into the finances behind my business instead of my personal life, let me know by dropping a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. You're the best, and I'll catch you on the next one.